So beginning and welcoming and settling, a sense of gathering again and reconnecting, sense of being here, sense of settling in this moment. A few minutes, 15 or 20 minutes, just getting used to stillness, reconnecting, recollecting, remembering. Eyes open or closed, connected physically to this here and now. This placing in time and space that this body gives. And a sense of well-wishing and welcoming. Reconnecting with the wish that we wish ourselves well. We wish that life wishes the best for itself. And physically, how does that feel? In the gut, in the heart, the ordinary breath. Breathing in with the belly going out, breathing out with the belly going in. The ordinariness of this moment. Stillness of this moment. Ease in this moment. And gathering that the attention that we give as we receive experience in this gift of attention, fully receiving this moment, a realization of what is actual experience. The whole of the body, the whole of the breath, the all of life received in the gift of attention. In the willingness to bear and to receive the whole of it. Sustaining the discovery the interest in the actual life of this present time, this place, this here, this now. It's this much the only experience is now and here, this place, this time. And the all of it can be received, the gift of attention, giving life to life, the whole of this breath, the whole of this moment. Eyes open or closed. Awake and alert, not shutting out or shutting down, receiving it all. Life giving life to life. Giving attention, care, wholeheartedly. All the energy gathered, collected, welcomed, experienced. Giving joy, finding a way to enjoy, give joy. Appreciating this receiving of life. Gift of attention. Gives life to life. Caring. This receiving of this life. The whole of it. All parts. All experience. Responding with the stillness in this moment, this practice now, here. This giving of all the attention, this receiving of all of experience, tolerating the stillness, body, the openness, before thought, or welcoming, without expectation. Or regret. It's like this. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Well, this is how it is. It's an opportunity to reconnect, opportunity to reflect. Reflecting is like what you see in the mirror is not what it actually is. You see a partial thing. The reflection is like that. It's a partial thing. And the reflecting is to know what's happening in the heart. So this is the power is in the knowing of what's happening in the heart. Is where the liberation from ignorance occurs, through knowing what's happening in the heart, what's driving this motion in this moment. And in life, there's a sense of goodwill. There needs to be a sense of trust in order for it to flower. Now, when we come and say that we'll be welcoming and sitting still for 15 minutes as a starter in this gathering, it's helpful to know that in these minutes of however long it is that one stays with this stillness, there's a sense of safety. And as we settle, then we can know if we're anxious or restless or feel threatened in any way, then the stillness is there's no sense of comfort, and so there's a sense of fidgetiness or movement. Knowing that, then knowing that when we sit in meditation in that moment, the 5 precepts at least are being kept in that moment. That there's no, if you're sitting still, you're not killing things, you're not stealing, you're not being sexually inappropriate or exploitative, you're not lying, and you're not taking any alcohol in that moment. You may be sitting having taken a glass of wine, but I hope not. It's no, you've got the opportunity to practice being enlightened rather than practicing to get enlightened. Practice being enlightened for the time that you are, and if you have broken the precepts in the last half hour or so, then know how it feels. Give attention to how it feels. That's the joy of sitting still. You have the chance to wake up, practice Buddhism in one word: awake. As you know, that's Ajahn Sumedharama's one-word summation of the Buddha's teaching. So, do it, and how using the form of sitting for 15 minutes as just a pause, helpful, and use it as a way of enjoying this life and bringing joy to this life. And even if you just joined the meeting a few minutes before I started talking, the sense of gathering, the sense of this moment, sense of here and now, and the gift of attention, the receiving of experience with the attention inward. So the whole of experience is open. The whole of life is open, and yet it's open, and yet the energy is here. So the openness is not just scattered. It's like, oh, this is how it is now. This is what I can trust now. And in whatever experience that one has, one's ideas or one's carried to this moment, one's opinions about this or that. This is how I should be leading my life. This is how other people should be doing it. All of that. It's not wrong, it's just this is how it is. And in this moment, the body sitting here is like this. And as often as one gets into that practice, then whatever one's doing, one can give what joy one can to this moment. Give what appreciation one can to this moment. And however one's moving, whatever one's ideas about oneself is, about the body, its opinions about this or that, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's just, there's only ever this moment. In the grand scheme of things, it's just an idea of the head. It's one's idea about one's path in life, what one's going to do, what one has done. The journeys one's been on, the ideas one's had about things, the ideas one has about other people, one ideas about one's path in life. In this moment, there's just this moment. This is what it always comes down to. And the practice of this makes, when there is journeys or there is changes or there is bits and pieces that happen in one's life, the practice, if one gives oneself the practice of being in this moment, then in those moments, what happens is what happens, and there's less disturbance It's this old thing of only the disturbed can be disturbed. So, which is Ajahn Vajino's analysis. And so, whatever trials or tribulations or ups or downs or whatever happens, it's just this moment. Just this moment, and the disturbance is just the disturbance, but it's not ultimately doesn't hurt or doesn't affect the stillness that's here, because the practice has been done of being undisturbed, or always welcoming, always willing to give attention to receive whatever experience is happening. Because there's a trust that this. Now, if the precepts have been basically kept, there's the trust that there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to worry about, really. That the worst can happen is to be horribly tortured and die, which ain't so likely, but if you're here and now, it's possible in some places, and in some parts of the world it's more likely than others. But at least if you're here and now and you're listening to this, wherever you are, you can remember that beings do wish you well. You can remember that there have always been beings that have wished all beings well, and there are beings now that wish all beings well. However much war and strife that one is experiencing, however much trouble one is experiencing in one's life, there have always been beings that wished all beings well. There are now beings that wish all beings well, and you certainly wish yourself well. Your life wishes itself well, because that's the nature of life. There is goodness. That's the root of this experience, the possibility of awakening, which is something that we do have a part of if we are human. We have this aspiration for complete awakening. It's there. It's a freedom from ignorance, freedom from misunderstanding, and any causes of extra strife, because there's enough strife in the world without causing extra strife. And there is this deep in all humans, maybe confused, maybe distorted, but there's a basic goodness in life, or a basic well-wishing in life. And in humans, the highest well-wishing is the wish for complete freedom from all additional, extra pain and stress. And the best we can do, the best being that we can wish this for, is the one that we live with. And it's a gift, the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is the aspiration to really trust ourselves. And this is the place of the precepts. And the place of the basic precept is trust. And to the best of our ability to not to harm, not to indulge, not to dwell in hatred, is a volition, as a mundane aspiration, and then to dwell on the Dhamma, and dwell on in our thoughts, think about, to ponder, to hold in our hearts the memories of the teachings, the meanings behind the teachings. Meaning behind the teaching of the practice of the Eightfold Path is to know how the heart is. The meaning of the teaching that there's a basic experience of equanimity, of accepting a limitation, a basic experience of joy, a basic experience to cause less suffering now and in the future, and a basic experience of acceptance of this, how things are. The heart, free from ignorance, acts like this. This is a dwelling that I find helpful to really practice all of the Eightfold Path in each moment as best we can, in whatever level we can. So we're not caught in limitation, causing ourselves more pain. We don't need to suffer more than we already do. And to notice how much we make for ourselves. And just stop it. Because it hurts so much. No. So we don't have to prove that they're suffering by making ourselves suffer more. Sometimes it feels like it. So it's not necessary. And how to find a way to enjoy. This is whatever moment's happening. Notice something that gives oneself a smile. Notice something that one doesn't feel. Notice something that's beautiful in whatever moment one is in. And give life to that too. It's okay to understand suffering, but one doesn't have to live in it all the time. It's difficult enough without making life more painful. And the basic 5 precepts, honor them, raise them up, enjoy them, find ways of making them something that one really appreciates and that one can give. Give the sense that one can do this. And guard one's world with a sense of actual caution about or fear of doing something that's wrong. And a sense of shame when one does deliberately act in ways that one knows is unskillful. And allow that to be, that pain to be known and repented in some way, a sense of that I can let go of. So go for it, and go for a sense of life that is based in trust and love. So love, there's a sense of openness in one's life, a sense of care in one's life, so that each moment is like this, and fully accepted like this, and enjoyed like this, and appreciated like this, so that it's less pain in the present moment, in whatever moment one finds oneself in, through one's journey through life, however that journey unfolds. If one's fed up with life, so that's one endures that, finds joy in the sense that one can endure this, because whatever you're experiencing, you can endure because you are enduring it. The idea that you can't endure something is actually a lie, because if you can't endure it, you're dead. Because if you are experiencing it, you are enduring it. It's, you can certainly shut yourself down in some way, and that's part of what happens with deadening yourself. You can do that. That's true. You can't deaden yourself, deaden your judgment, and deaden your um, experience in some way. But and in some senses, maybe it's there's a purpose to that. You don't want to go full on to you know to burn yourself or to harm yourself. Certainly be careful. Certainly do protect yourself. And I think but don't overprotect yourself in all situations. Just find wisdom as to how much you can actually endure. And if, when you're sitting meditation, you can get a lot of pain. But then when you do decide to move, make your intention clear. If you decide to move in your life to a different thing and move situations in your life because you do find it really, really painful, you think, okay, this can't go on, then establish your intention clearly. I move out of compassion for the body, move out of compassion for life so that there can be less suffering now and in the future. Then figure out how to move. And what that movement might be, no idea. If you've got sitting painfully, then it's a question of uncrossing your legs and changing your position. If it's a question of changing how your life is, I have no idea. That's something that you'll have to figure out for yourself. What sort of movements can work so that there'll be less suffering now and in the future. But do keep the 5 precepts in that. Don't just cloud your judgment. Don't just do something foolish, but make sure your intention is clear and then find a wise way of changing your life situation. And I've got what that might be, how that might work. Take care. Take care. And see. And then also other life situations might work out. If you're in a situation where something drastic happens to you, then you have to figure out how to deal with that. Because there are changes in your life situation that might happen that are completely beyond your control. You might find yourself in a war zone. You might find all sorts of things happening in your life that you have no control over. And then you have to find some way of changing so that you suffer less now and in the future. So your actions come from compassion, making space in your life so that you suffer less now and in the future. And how that's going to be, nobody knows. I don't know. No moment for me, it's like I'm here now in Portugal, back in a situation that I've been away from a bit, but still, the only place I've ever been is here and now. I can say that I've been traveling, but actually I've not gone anywhere. My experience has always been this body, these aches, these pains, this sense of urgency, this sense of interest. The experience is just the experience. It's been in the memories of the memories. The anticipation was the anticipation. What happens next? How do I work it out so that I suffer less now than in the future? I don't know. No, there's a sense of interest. What happens next? How this works out? The intention is to live within a form. And the form that I find myself in is like this body, this lifestyle, this is like this. And to give attention and to receive this life, the intention as it is. the awareness as it is, the capacity to receive as it is. And how it works out, I don't know. In each moment, I just try to give the best I can, enjoy the best I can, and appreciate the best I can. And the attention is drawn this way and that way. Finding that traveling is fine. It's the memory of trains and platforms and bustles and people and figuring out how timetables and tickets and things work. And snow and snow and snow. how to suffer less now and in the future in different situations within the form that I find myself in this moment, in the company that I find myself in this moment. In the moment, in this here, this now, this time, this space, this gift of life, giving life to life, finding a way to accept the limitation, enjoy the moment, suffer less now and in the future, and not reject. This is the basic emotions of upekkha, accepting the limitation, joy and appreciation, mudita, suffering less now and in the future, karuna, not rejecting, metta. Trying to practice this much in this moment, in every moment, this limitation, this is how it is here and now. And, within a form that allows one to not regret and live fearlessly, as completely as possibly, to live human, rather than animal, or demon, or even God. So there's a sense of forgiveness. So I offer this for your consideration this evening. If it's of any help, fine. And if it's not, then leave it behind. And this is enough for now. Let's see if there's any questions that anybody else wants to add in the chat. Thank you for listening. So I recognize some faces. Some questions have already been asked. But don't think anybody else is going to. Thank you. Happy to see you. No question. Somebody's having a cup of tea and a biscuit. People are chatting away. There are people in the Sangha room that can't type questions but have asked about how strictly one should keep the precepts. Strictly should one keep the precepts? Ask the question, how strictly should I keep the precepts? Keep the precepts very strictly on your birthday. Your birthday is the day of the week that you were born on. So at least once a week, you just keep the precepts very, very strictly. Sometimes you need to reset the precepts. You can retake the precepts. You can always admit that you break the precepts if you break them, and then retake them if you wish. But guard as much as you can your life, guard your world with Hiriotapa. Really, it's a sense of withdrawing. What to say of nations responding with violence with violence? People responding with violence with violence. I don't have an answer really. It's all a little beyond me, or much beyond me. It's the nature when there's lack of harmony. There's a nature when there's lack of harmony and there's lack of basic human respect. There's going to be war. There's going to be troubles. There's going to be problems. And, that it's not that there's never been that. But most of the time, actually, most people do try to keep the 5 precepts. We tend to overlook that. Actually, violence is, even in wars, there's, most people in wars, they don't actually try to kill people a lot of the time, which is strange. They're actual people on the front line. It's a funny old world. It's a funny old thing with people. But certainly, breaking the precepts does cause harm now and in the future. And what the consequences will be, we do not know. But as far as it goes, how much information we have nowadays about it, it's really strange, and we have to be careful we don't get overexcited or over interested in things, which is sad. If we're helpless, getting over interested in stuff like that is actually not necessarily very helpful. So let's see. Doesn't even feel that how much alcohol affects the mind. Less than you think. Less than you think. It affects judgment. Even if you don't feel drunk, it affects judgment, and judgment is something that then can have a disastrous result if your judgment's affected. Like the degree of alcohol that you don't necessarily feel drunk if you're over the limit as far as driving a car is concerned, because there's a knowledge that your judgment is affected even before you feel drunk. And it's the judgment. You think that you're okay, but actually that's not the case, because your whole judgment is actually skewed from the beginning. So you don't need very much at all to be over the limit as far as driving a car is concerned. And yet people make decisions in their life which affect all sorts of beings when they're over the limit. And there's a strangeness in that, and they affect all sorts of people. When they've been, they can make decisions that affect all sorts of people when they're drunk. And they don't even feel drunk. And that's really strange. It's really strange. It's really, really strange. It's not safe. It doesn't feel safe. Thank you. Lovely to be with you again. As I age, there's an experience of letting go more and more, and yet witnessing the terrible things that we did. Grip of desperation. How to return to letting go in the midst of such despair. I don't know how the Buddha did it. The people came and wiped out his family, his whole clan when he was alive. And yet there was still a sense of equanimity, which is really sad. His chief disciple was killed by the chief disciple's son. His first lay disciple, King Bimbisara, was killed by Ajatasattu. Bimbisara was one of his first supporters. Just really, really, really sad. There's not a Portuguese translation of the collected teaching of Ajahn Vajiro. There's an Italian one, not a Portuguese one. Sorry, Jose. Not yet in Portuguese. It would probably be translated into Brazilian Portuguese before it's translated into Portuguese. But there's an Italian. If you'd like the Italian, that's available. Sorry about that. Is there a bad karma for not keeping an adhitthana? The adhitthana is remembering the adhitthana. I think, a wise use of what Ajahn Jayasara used to say is that Mara loves a good adhitthana because there's always the business of breaking it and then taking that breaking of it personally. Adhitthana is a way of remembering. And, the wise thing is to figure out why one broke an adhitthana and seeing whether one can make manure out of that muck. Because there's also, if you keep an adhitthana, you've also got the danger of being very proud. I kept my adhitthana. So you can take the adhitthana too personally, but to use it as a way of learning and putting energy into your life and learning about what makes you break an adhitthana, you can try and find a way of turning the muck into manure rather than getting stuck into blaming oneself. I couldn't keep that adhitthana. So that's what I would suggest with breaking an adhitthana through the vasa. And then see what happens. The reason for the adhitthana was to help you grow in wisdom. It wasn't the intention of making the adhitthana was not to make you suffer more now than in the future. If you did make that adhitthana with a sense of, well, if I make this adhitthana, if I make this determination, I'm bound to be able to suffer more in the future, then you were very foolish. So, figure out a way of using that adhitthana or breaking that adhitthana to help you suffer less now and in the future, rather than making it something that makes you suffer less now and in the future. Don't take it too personally. As somebody said, can't remember who. So it's a way of using the adhitthana to grow. So wish you well. Yeah, the bad karma that's been made is to take it too personally. Okay, I've tried to answer some of the questions. If there are no more.